I don't know.
I like that.
No, I'm not calling you boy. I'm just not randomly calling you boy on this show.
That's not appropriate.
What's up, boy? What's happening, boy?
Well, it was quite a night. What a game. We always just want it to be a good game, right?
Yeah,
what a game. But we have so much to talk about. Let's get into the headlines. Please. I'm begging you. Folks, it's Monday, and wouldn't you know it, it's Wick Week. Happy Wick Week, everybody.
If you say that and you didn't know what we were talking about on this show, you'd be like, what type of freaking shit on the break room?
I guarantee you a large percentage of our audience might not know that they're living in Wick Week right now.
You've been in it.
Which week is it? It's Wick Week.
It's Wick Week. Wicks.
According to the makers of John Wick, this is Wick Week, okay? John Wick 4 is going hard this week because there's no other movie coming out this week, right? Right?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Well, it isn't even coming out this week. I mean, I'm excited for it
this week. But the producers of John Wick have labeled this Wick Week. Every day they're going to drop hot Wick news right all over you.
Wiki.
You're not even going to see it coming.
What
did we get? What present did we open on this Monday of Wick Week? It's a poster!
On the first day of Wick Week, the producers gave to me.
John Wick is fighting the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, it's just like there's no villain.
It's John Wick versus National Monument.
Versus the Eiffel Tower.
John Wick versus
Man's got a sightsee. Lost his dog, recovered it, went through a line.
You might have thought he was dead after the end of the third movie, but he's still alive. He's still alive.
And now's the time to sightsee. That's what you do when you're near death experience.
You're off the grid for real. You dead.
Yeah.
Just go.
You finally leave your job. You go travel.
City of Lights makes sense.
We could talk about John Wick all day, but we won't. We'll save the rest of Wick for Wick Week. Tune in tomorrow to see what happens
for more Wick Week.
On Wick Week.
The Grand Canyon, I think.
I hope so.
He goes domestic.
But of course, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania does come out this week, which means we're getting the last little bits of information before the movie is finally here. We don't want to spoil too much, so we're going to go as light as we can on Quantumania this week. But just a little bit of news. In a profile about the movie, Paul Rudd spoke about a scene where he acts with himself, saying, quote, there were all these different versions. There were so many other technical considerations that it took weeks to shoot that entire sequence. It was easily the most challenging thing I've ever had to do.
Got two things.
Give me your two things.
One, we've seen this in the trailer, the split, so this isn't too spoilery, but it is going to be really interesting to see what I assume are going to be like a bevy of variants and like how many survive, all those different things. It's also interesting because ants are one of the few animals that are like hive-minded. So it'll be really interesting to see if they have Ant-Mans be hive-minded. Like, what if there's a bunch of Paul Rudds
for the greater good?
Be like, marching in unison? Like, what if we get a bunch of Rudds that are like ant-like?
But I think, Coy, you're missing the most important thing.
What do we got?
A lot of our viewers are wanting to talk about that Paul Rudd has mentioned that hurts everyone. He worked out to film shirtless, and none of the shirtless scenes made the movie.
Oh, that hurts.
Paul Rudd mentioned that in an interview. He said he worked out hard to do that.
That's the Marvel thing. You have
that one scene at least.
You get that one
scene.
He was like, if this is the last Ant-Man go round, he films a shirtless scene and it doesn't make it.
I'm hurt for him.
I'm hurt for him.
They showed Chris Hemsworth butt in the last
Look, Kumail Nanjiani went on all of the good level steroids, okay? Yeah. Worked out his ass off just to show us his shoulders. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen.
They didn't give him a shirtless.
They didn't give him. We just saw arms.
Yeah, that's real.
That was it.
Second thing. In addition to, I'm wondering if that Ant-Man mentality is part of the idea behind it. I'm also wondering if there's going to be different variants that aren't Paul Rudd. And have you seen the clip of him and his son at the Super Bowl?
No.
His son speaks, it literally is him. There's a little clone. There's a little Rudd. I want to see one of them as a variant Ant-Man.
Oh, okay.
I want to see another.
Because we've seen Scott push through time, remember? Right. So we've seen old Scott.
Yep.
We've seen baby Scott. So we could see all these variations.
It's the only character that we've really had to go that way through time. We've had them be plucked through time, but we haven't had a character be pushed through time themselves.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Where so they became the time.
They became the time.
So I'm curious if that's an effect in Quantumania.
We'll have to find out this week. And of course, this is Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania launch week, so be sure to check out nerdriot.shop. We've been working closely with our merch partners to bring you a whole line of awesome Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania inspired merch. I got one of the shirts right here, dog. This is a Quantum Thief running through time. But there's shirts based on Kang. There's shirts based on the Wasp. There's a Stature Stinger shirt. We don't know what they're going to call her. There's that shirt. There's a hoodie. All this awesome stuff. And go to nerdriot.shop because we recently launched our new meme mugs. We got 2 new meme mugs, folks. Our most popular and memeable thumbnails are now available as mugs you can drink out of or eat out of them. I know some people like to eat their ice cream out of a mug. You could do that. Head on over to nerdriot.shop. Get yourself a meme mug. Does he know? Do you have a friend who doesn't know the channel at all but is big on sports Twitter? This will blow their mind. This will blow their mind. So be sure to check that out. Nerdriot.shop. Tons of awesome merch. Also, new Rockstars merch. Support the channel. All the great stuff. Do that. But of course, with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania coming out this week, everyone's been interviewing Jonathan Majors. Why wouldn't you? He also has Creed 3 on the horizon very soon. Jonathan Majors has put the call out for Robert Downey Jr. to return as Iron Man. I mean, we've all been saying it, right? We know they're going to break that glass eventually in the MCU. Majors credits RDJ for a lot of the good work in the movie. He said, I would love to be across from him on screen to see how our philosophies, acting-wise and character-wise, just personally match up. His portrayal of Iron Man is so fascinating, and he represents a very clear worldview and energy of the Avengers, and I think Kang represents a different era.
I have a small problem. and hear me out, gentlemen, and everyone watching. I know we want to see Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. again.
Right.
I know that we have the multiverse. We can do variants to come back. But at what point do we allow these characters to die and move forward with the story?
I don't think they should ever bring Chris Evans or Downey Jr. back.
You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Let them go.
It would eliminate all of the beauty of the perfect 3-act structure those characters had, and it would negate the impact of Endgame.
Exactly.
I worry.
I feel you.
I personally, if I was Feige, wouldn't do it.
I think Majors was speaking on behalf of like either Kang Dynasty or Secret Wars.
Regardless.
If I see those actors as those characters, I get that conceptually they're a different one, but I will always go like, he's back. And it'll feel just like in the comics when somebody comes back and like,
So now we're rewriting the story. We're retconning it real quick. I understand. We would love to see it one more time.
And it's inevitable. It's coming. But I'm saying I don't want it.
Right. It is. It's inevitable, of course.
I'll cheer. I'll be mad at
But
myself.
the problem becomes now, we open this Pandora's box. Yes, we say multiverse when we talk about Marvel, DC, and Elseworlds or whatever. And we have this Pandora's box of now where it's like, you can't let the person go now.
Right.
Because now anything that can happen, there's always this, well, you know they brought him back before.
A perfect example is Quicksilver. Like,
yes.
Boner came back, and we all were like, that's Quicksilver. And even though we were then explained to it, it was still like, that's Quicksilver.
That's Quicksilver.
Like, you can't unlearn and unsee. And I just worry that, like, the way it ended was so beautiful and so poignant, and it was, like, the sacrifice. And Steve finally getting to stop fighting, that even if we see him, like, as another Steve, I don't know. And, like, Downey, I also, as a man, I want Downey to be able to, like, make stuff. And I just worry that, like, he hasn't escaped the Iron Man shadow yet. And, like, and that will only make, like, I'm very excited to see him in Oppenheimer. But if he comes back in, like, 2 years later as Iron Man, I'll be like, all right, we got another 5. Got another hiatus.
All he does is just toss an arc reactor to somebody, just catch this in peace.
Like, today he did the Jon Favreau had his star.
Yep, he was down there,
And Downey was there. And he, like, came out in a suit with, like, these awesome Nikes on. And immediately I'm like, it's Iron Man. And I'm like, I don't love that. I don't love that my brain, like, eliminates his whole career.
He was Sherlock Holmes, damn it. You remember that.
He was Chaplin. Got an Oscar.
Yeah, I want my third Sherlock Holmes film. Where's that already, Guy Ritchie? Get on it.
I want my multiverse Chaplin film.
No, you didn't pop for Doolittle? You didn't pop for
Not quite for me.
Who popped for Doolittle?
No one popped for Doolittle?
You explain me one person that popped for Doolittle.
I don't know.
Okay.
A child out there somewhere really likes
The
that
Juror
movie.
2, it's coming.
Well, I feel you, Jay, because like especially as like a wrestling fan, you know, I think we can all agree that a lot of times wrestling is bogged down by legends returning.
In other words, he's saying we're tired of seeing Brock Lesnar every 17 weeks.
I like Brock right now, like where he's at right now, mentally. We haven't seen him in a while.
That's the thing, though. It's like you keep bringing, and again, that's the best analogy.
Right.
With a wrestler, you just can't, you won't allow the new. Yeah, you won't allow the new generation. That's like if the Undertaker came back in Raw 30 and he was in the whole black and leather jacket and everything. You like, oh Jesus, he's gonna be at WrestleMania, but you know he's not. He's like, no, I just did this for a reason. And even still, but when it comes to the MCU, we as fans are so conditioned to being like, you can use them again for this. You can introduce a person with that when you don't need to. You can let that actor and that character go. They can be referenced.
There's one way I'd bring Ethan back. With Downey, I would bring him back as the AI that he programmed was into the hat. And that's Riri Williams' AI.
Okay,
and
that's
fine. canon because he literally already made that.
Yes, I know.
He talks
to
through the AI.
yeah,
and no one's more narcissistic than a man that wants to stay around forever. But he's physically dead, therefore it's like.
And that was the thing I agree with. I said that a while ago on my podcast.
Rogers, I got one. Steve Rogers, slowly as he gets older, if he comes back, I want old man Rogers, and I want him to look like a mix between Chris Evans and Stan Lee, and then it makes it canon that every Stan Lee cameo is Steve Rogers watching over his boys. because we got him in that scene in Age of Ultron with the Navy hat.
Yeah.
What if the Stan Lee cameos are Steve Rogers traveling through time to look after his
how
people?
long do we keep doing that?
Oh no, I'm saying to do it once. In 30 years, you age up Chris Evans, and you make him look like
You sit up in front of a green
you
screen.
blend that. You blend the Steve. You make Stan Steve, and then it makes it canon through
Y'all see
all
what
the
y'all
Stan
opened
Lee
up?
cameos.
Y'all opened up this can of worms.
Can you imagine if they
Y'all
made
did
the
this with
Steve
him.
Rogers Stan Lee cameo
This
canon?
is insane.
Every time Stan Lee we've seen him, it's been Steve looking out for his people.
What about when Stanley interacts with
Steve Rogers wouldn't know that that's him when he's older. I don't know what I'm gonna look like when I'm like 70.
That's true.
I hope I'm.
That's like
handsome.
a
AI
Looper
exists,
scenario.
bro.
Right.
You can find
It's
out
some
what-
Looper stuff.
I know what you're gonna look like when you 70.
It's a couple clicks away.
I
We
know.
all did.
Irish. I'm
we
gonna
all
look
did that
real
a few years
tracksuited.
ago on Facebook.
Oh yeah, we
when the app
all
was
had our
coming.
identity stolen.
Yeah,
Pressing
we
some
all-
buttons.
we all
I'm
did.
just- that's how I do it.
ourselves.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe they'll never come back. Who knows? Also, last Friday, John Leguizamo shared that he was almost cast as Vulture in the Spider-Man Homecoming instead of Michael Keaton. He told comicbook.com that they had negotiated and he was about to play the Vulture until Keaton's schedule changed and, quote, wanted the role back. He said that they offered him a smaller role, to which he refused. I bet they offered him that weird scorpion.
One of the
Yeah,
Scorpions.
he was probably Matt Gargan in prison. It was like, yo, I don't want to do this little role where I just show up one time.
Also, that has not paid off yet for that actor.
No,
so,
that poor guy has not come back for the Sinister Six they
right.
built without him.
Without him, you know.
The guy from Better Call Saul. I forgot
Yeah,
his name, but
he's
yeah,
Nacho.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's Nacho.
He's Nacho.
Even had a post-credit scene teasing the Scorpion. Like they went as far as like he'll be back.
And having the thing on his neck and
yeah.
everything.
And he was good. I was excited for that.
He was good in 3 lines. Just like
Were you not invested?
I mean, I get what you're saying, but you were like, he was good. I was like, hey, bro, it was a cameo.
Where's the Oscar for Scorpion? That's what I'm saying.
Where is the Oscar for
It was a
Scorpion?
cameo.
Speaking of Michael Keaton returning, we're gonna get to see him as Batman again, according to the Flash trailer. We also got a Batman poster along with a couple other character posters. There's of course a de-aged Michael Keaton. I can't get over it. There's the Flash, and then I think they also did one of Supergirl. Yes.
Cool. I hadn't seen
there you go.
Supergirl. That's great.
Listen,
Fun character
Sasha
posers.
Calle is amazing looking in this. I'm just going to say it. She is beautiful. And the way the shoot is just like...
It looks cool.
It looks great. Even when you see her coming out in the trailer of what you think might be Project Cadmus or something else, you're like, she looks badass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
even
better
like the
than
emaciated
skirt,
sick.
too.
Yes, it's better than the
I
skirt.
got nothing against the skirt, but I feel bad.
Even when they had Kara do it in the Supergirl series, when she went to the whole bodysuit, it was something different about that. Because we know when they initially made Supergirl why she had the cheerleader type skirt.
Sure.
We get it.
Yeah.
And so people will go, well, that's canon, Jay. And I'm like, I understand, but you can modernize some things.
Yeah.
And the modernization is the full suit like her cousins.
Yeah. It also makes sense if she was in a military thing, like trapped, she wouldn't be in a skirt. Like
She-
if she's,
the last
if she's
thing
being
she
like,
wears.
yeah, that's not the thing.
Give me some pants. I'm cold up in here.
It doesn't make any sense for the skirt for this take of the character.
We also saw in the trailer, you might have noticed there's like lots of bat suits in the Batcave.
Oh
like
man,
several
that
different
gray
suits.
and blue one.
No. This one I have a problem with. This dude here. Because this man went on it was one of the social media sites.
Yep.
And his whole hope and dream, ladies and gentlemen, can I get the camera, please? Can I get the camera? His whole hope and dream is just for bat nipples. That's all.
Oh no! I said my bat nipples were hard because of the trailer.
Oh, I thought you wanted
No. I got my bat nipples. They were mine. It was a possession. The possessive.
Okay, I thought you wanted
No.
bat nipples on this in this suit.
My suit was perky. My experience.
Okay,
was
that's what you said.
Yeah,
I
I was saying the Flash suit is so good.
Okay, I was like, I don't want to see.
Oh no! I don't want to see bat nipples again.
I don't want to ever see.
I want my bad nipples to experience that. Flash
I don't want to
trailer
see
again.
bat nipples or bat butt cheeks. I don't
I
care
like
what.
him. Bring him back.
Bring him
Joel
back.
Schumacher, he was going for something.
Okay, if you're
Very
gonna bring
specific.
bat nipples, make sure they pierced. Look, we're gonna go all the way. Go all the way
a
with it.
batarang.
Put
That
a
Linkin Park music video they made that just like lean all the
go
way.
on
in.
with it through it.
Warner Brothers also put out a new synopsis for the Flash film, which is pretty interesting and it's long.
Do you want me to get this?
Coy, if you
Wait, hold on. This is how you gotta do it.
wind him up.
Flash speed. Worlds collide in the Flash when Barry uses his superpowers to travel back in time in order to change the events of the past. But when his attempt to save his family inadvertently alters the future, Barry becomes trapped in a reality in which Jandreau Zahn has returned, threatening annihilation, and there are no superheroes to turn to. That's grammatically interesting.
Yeah.
That is, unless Barry can coax a very different Batman out of retirement and rescue an imprisoned Kryptonian, albeit not the one he's looking for. Ultimately, to save the world that he is in and return in the future that he knows, Barry's only hope is to race for his life. But will making the ultimate sacrifice be enough to reset the universe?
Oh, what a...
That's how you wind them up and let them go, man.
We got a
Grammar
prison
moment.
break. We got a prison break. Do you think Batman's plan is to get arrested and go to prison with a tattoo of the full prison on his back so that they can break out that way? guys that ever watch Prison Break? Fox.
Yes, I
You
know.
ever watch it?
I know what you're talking about. Yes,
Television.
I know. That's what I'm like, yo. I can't see Bruce
You know what I
be
like most
like.
about that show? They would break out, and every year they get put.
They
They
go
go
put
right
right
back
back
in.
to
They
jail.
gotta love
got
that.
prisons to break out of.
That's
like Joker.
That's a great pitch when they buy your show, and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do now.
We've got one season of
We've
this.
got one
You're like, oh, they out of jail. So what do we do? Put them back in jail. But that'll be the end of the show.
No. We got more jails. They get caught again. I was really impressed with the tone they were able to do because there was a really interesting moment where they were shooting the Tim Burton Batman in a very Tim Burton way, like the actual cinematography.
yeah.
And then when they cut to the Batfleck, it felt like Snyder's cinematography.
Yes,
and
it
then they
did.
went back to Flash, and that's when you notice the details because of the dichotomy of Muschietti's style. Because Muschietti uses color in a really interesting way, like in It and in Mama. And you wouldn't have maybe seen the difference in his framing with color if you hadn't seen the other styles. So I like that he's filming almost multiversally. It's like when there's it's like jazz or a comic jazz where it's like there's a gathering of artists where like maybe Andy Kupert's drawing one, Bagley's drawing another, and it looks like all of those characters in one frame, but they're using their different styles. And I don't think I've ever seen a crossover event where the director was like, let me pay homage to the visual language of this character for you. And then the trailer was able to do all of that while driving a very interesting multiversal narrative in the way that feels like it's going to trust the audience like Spider-Verse did. It's not going to like slowly feed you data. It's going to be like, we're diving into this thing. And I really was impressed that they gave us a different take on Batfleck that looks a little younger, but also is comic appropriate in a way that doesn't take away from Keaton's. Like, it's a lot of cake and eat it too in one trailer. I was so impressed.
Sure.
I feel like the Batfleck with Ben Affleck's Batman, it's the Bruce that he knows in this moment. I feel like it's not too much younger. It's an older Bruce because remember that's what this is. This is a 20, as we saw in those. This is a 20-year Bruce, right?
Yeah.
This is a Bruce that I'll shoot you in the face and don't care anymore. So I think this is that Bruce he knows, right? When you get the Keaton Batman, that Bruce is probably the same. I think everything is parallel.
Oh, you think they're both like 60?
I think all of this is running parallel.
Interesting.
But I agree, it definitely is dope that you were like, Muschietti was like, yo, I need to do the Snyder style for this one. I need to do the Burton style for this. Because if he did one style, there would be a feel thing you'd miss.
Yeah,
you would have the scores. You would have those different scores, but that look is a big thing. But I think all of these are parallel, because remember, that's the thing about the multiverse.
Right.
This is parallel universes. I think the only one let me pull back a second. There may be a point where he does go backwards.
That's what I think that blue and gray suit is.
Yeah,
I think that's a young moment in the Bruce Wayne.
Yes, that's a young moment there.
That's young Batfleck.
Yeah, I think it's a younger Batfleck, whether it's a flashback, whether it's a time distortion, whether it's... Because we also don't know the rules of this world where they're going to have him like charge up and have the power displacement. Because in Flashpoint, the comic book, he's a depowered Flash. He doesn't have powers in this universe. And it looks to me like that scene, the power is going through both of them like a conduit. So either maybe he's trying to get his counterpart apart. Yeah, or he's like, he has it and he's sharing it, or neither of them have it and they're having to do creative stuff. So I'm really curious what the rules are. Are we going to have Reverse Flash? Are we going to have Zod be the big bad? I love that the trailer didn't spell out the version of Flashpoint because comic fans know what happens.
Yeah,
but
we know, yeah.
we also don't know what they're going to choose to do. Like Civil War, very different than the comic book. I hope they don't.
Very different.
Well, having Supergirl is already a great way to distinguish this multiverse. Because arguably, if you think about it thematically, the multiverse of the comic to the animated is a multiverse. If you think about it, a live action is a different multiverse. So we're already living multiversally just by the nature of having adaptation. We currently live in a multiverse of these concepts. So I'm really smart. I mean, I'm really smart. I'm really glad they chose to be smart and do Supergirl because it allows there to be a clear distinction between the multiversal impact of these things.
Now, when you bring up multiversal and you bring up powers at the same time, the Ring is a very big teller. The Ring is a very big teller because we don't see the Snyder Ezra Miller, the Snyder Barry Allen with the Ring. That Barry Allen just has a suit. Remember, it's just a suit that Bruce amped up and fixed for him.
Right.
That's all that Barry has is a suit. Now this one, there's a ring. So somebody has to have something. Or maybe what? I don't think Bruce is that keen into
there's an origin for that ring. It's in a comic. They already did it. Batfleck is in a comic canon. There's 3 comics leading up to the movie that are out right now that they teased at the end of the trailer to set up this movie. So there's a prequel comic where Ben Affleck's Batman gives him the ring.
So Ben Affleck made the ring.
Yeah.
Okay. So
but it's cool because there's a comic canon that is canon to the movies that's not
okay.
comic
So
canon
that's
to the comics.
so a lot of people, unless they follow the comics to a T, wouldn't understand that.
Ben Affleck out there
they
giving rings to everybody.
J-Lo, Ezra,
Just
throwing up
happening.
Nat for sure.
I don't know about all this conversation. I just like it. I just like it in the trailer when their feet touch. That was cute.
I like that it was like a fusion dance, Dragon Ball Z, like the lightning come out.
Yeah. What if our feet touched under the Zod ship? Well, we'll have to see how this all goes. I was just excited. You know, we've heard a lot of talk about this movie, and I think the trailer didn't disappoint. It was exciting. I'm still interested. We'll talk more about the trailer some more tomorrow too. And also Eric's working on his breakdown, which should be out any minute now. I don't know if it's on the channel yet already. Who knows? We should also talk about we had a lot of interesting social media interaction from James Gunn over the last few days. You ever heard about this? He goes online. He tweeted that there will be feature-length DC animated movies both inside and outside of the DCU. Or of course, we're gonna have Creature Commandos versus Justice League, maybe. And then we have like a Justice League versus RWBY movie. It's like an anime type movie.
Okay,
I think it's gonna be like an Elseworlds thing, obviously, but
I know we just left Flash, but this does relate. And I don't know if I'll be here tomorrow, but if I am, I'll be lurking in that corner yelling Flash hype. I do think there's an element of allowance of multiverse even in the trailer that is going to be really interesting for what he's talking about here. Because what he's saying is there's going to be stuff that's in the main timeline, and there's also going to be stuff that's not. They could have Ezra's Flash stay in his mom's timeline, and then you've got your cake and eat it too, so you could come back and use Sasha Calle. You can come back and use Ezra Miller. So in 5 years, tap back into that multiverse. Oh, look, Henry Cavill's back. We sorted our stuff out without even Kingdom coming in.
I think that's why the Supergirl announcement is announced. I think, of course, Gunn has seen the movie.
Right.
So for those who haven't heard, if you know people who work in this world like we do, we all have friends who have managed to see the film. And they've all literally said, the film is good. That's been a consensus. It's a good movie. That's probably why the Supergirl movie was announced. Sasha Calle probably is getting that film. I wouldn't, because there's no way there was this big hype behind her being cast in this role. And everybody was like, well, the controversy that is marred the film in itself, that will be the end of her, because we know this is pretty much Keaton's last go round. We know this is it. I did this one last time. I'm donning the suit. Boom.
Stop bringing me in for these.
Stop calling me for wings.
I don't want the wings. I did Birdman, Vulture, Batman.
Just put my face on some other body. You did it to Luke Skywalker. Why do I gotta keep
just a
this
chin
on?
at this point?
Just a chin.
You don't even need my eyes. So I think Sasha Calle goes for it. I think she gets pulled out of this. I think for this time being, she is our Superman.
Okay.
I think she is, because remember, the Superman we're getting from Gunn that he's writing and he will direct. I don't think y'all know this yet. He hasn't announced it. James Gunn is. I know you watch this. James is directing that movie, but he said it's a younger Superman.
Said like mid-20s.
Yeah, he's learning.
Right.
This one has been here that we can tell.
Who, the Supergirl?
Yeah,
Superman?
Supergirl has been here.
Well, she's the one that's been trapped and imprisoned and all those things.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
So have you read One of Tomorrow? It's fucking incredible. Okay, so One of Tomorrow is basically telling the story of the Supergirl that has been trapped on, like she grew up on a meteorite, like she was trapped alone and isolated, and she didn't have the nurturing element of Mom Pa Ken.
Right, she's a little bit jaded.
And that's all of Supergirl, right?
Yeah.
But this story in particular is really interesting because she takes on this orphan that was orphaned by this horrible like space pirate, and instead of letting her strike vengeance, she wants to shoulder the burden of murder. So she's willing to kill because she's only had darkness in her life.
Right.
So she's a very hardened, very edged, very like seen some stuff. So it would be interesting if we use the Supergirl from this that has already seen some stuff, the one that is a little bit more on edge, like the Supergirl of Tom King's run is, and lean that way. My only concern would be that if you've got a Supergirl that has that edge to her and a younger Superman, I don't know if they'll feel familial in a way that feels like they can share that Kryptonian bond.
I think we will be able to actually acknowledge the multiverse at this point. I think Gunn is going to acknowledge it.
I think Gunn trusts the audience a lot. I just don't know
think he does.
If the audience is
I think he does, but I think he'll acknowledge. Look, we'll say, I'm from what's called another universe. This way, I'm your cousin from another universe. I know about Krypton, all this other stuff. That's what Kara tells this younger Clark. But they get to go on their own paths. And this Kara that is more violent will fit in this James Gunn world.
Yeah.
Look at what we're getting, how this James Gunn world will be. Her being violent will track all the way through.
And she's not like merciless and she's not cruel. It's just really interesting to have a Supergirl that's like, I wasn't raised with all this love.
With this values and things like that.
It's like my goodness is because I'm good, not my goodness because I was taught.
Taught to be good, right.
And so like, I don't know
We're
if they're
sorry,
gonna...
Brandon. Brandon's just like, I'm letting the nerds talk.
Very interesting to see. Did they teach her capitalism? I'm going to challenge her, Coy. She grew up on an asteroid, meteorite, not until it crashes into a planet.
Oh, is that a thing?
Yeah.
I failed this city.
Are in space.
Look at the science paying off.
Meteors enter atmosphere and usually dissolve. A meteorite makes it all the way to the ground. So
the difference between a meteor and a meteorite is the...
whether or not it hits the ground or not.
Yeah, the meteorite
An
is always a
asteroid
fragment.
doesn't enter the
Learn
planet.
something new today. It's cool.
There
You didn't know that?
I'm picking it up.
Gunn
I read a
also
lot of comics, not a lot of books.
Gunn also tweeted, and we kind of knew this, there will be a new actor playing Batman in the DCU, so it won't be Pattinson necessarily, it won't be Batfleck, be someone new. Lastly, he responded on Twitter that he would, quote, he responded to, there was a thing on Twitter, people were asking, would you ever sell the Snyderverse to Netflix? You know, they want something. He said, I have to say that has got to be the wackiest hashtag ever since the one Netflix hasn't expressed any interest in that.
Thank you.
Although we've discussed other stuff, he said.
But I hate the fact that, look, the Snyderverse fans at some point are going to have to just let go. They're going, look, I hate to say it this way, let go. It's not happening.
Let go to me.
It's done. We're moving forward. I know everybody's like, but Snyder didn't get to finish his vision. A lot of directors don't, unfortunately.
Right.
We've always said this.
He's working on a new movie now.
He's working on a new movie.
He got his own universe. Like
He's got a Rebel Moon
excited
universe.
for
Let
Rebel
him have that. Go to that. Let the DC universe be what it is. If you're a fan of the characters, I understand. Yes, you're a fan of the actors that were playing the characters. I understand. But again, this is done. It's moving forward. And to sit there and say, well, just sell it to Netflix. Do you think Netflix is going to drop close to $1 billion on something that is not going to give them a return on investment just so you can watch it?
Yeah, you all keep sharing your passwords.
Just so you can watch it.
They're not going to do this for you.
My
You
big
wouldn't let
curiosity-
them block your passwords anymore.
Yeah, Snyder's the password.
mad at you
Snyder
now.
won. But I'm curious if
Associate producer of...
if they're going to do the Snyderverse, if they keep it as an Elseworld, if they keep it as a multiverse, they could go back to it. And that's what's really interesting to me is the fact that they are still releasing Aquaman. They are still releasing Aquaman after Flash either does the ending that pockets it or not. So you can very easily have a movie where the Snyderverse is a multiverse because they might even make the Authority a multiverse because in the comic books, Wildstorm is an imprint of DC.
Yes, it is. From Wildcats as well.
And the characters are commentaries on the characters in DC. Like Midnighter is a commentary in Batman, Apollo's a commentary in Superman.
Grifters
the
out there,
The fact that they're in the world with them is very interesting. So I'm wondering if that's going to be the first multiversal in Gunn continuity movie, and that's probably going to be the most Snydery movie. Like, because it's a darker, edgier, they're willing to kill, they're merciless, they don't listen to a nation. Like, there's a lot more of that mentality. So they could use the Snyder characters again, but if these movies don't do well because of all these people like, sell it, boycott, just yelling, no one's going to keep making these things. But they're the vocal minority of loud people.
But we also have to, just real quick, and I'll say this, we have to establish what studio wants to invest in this when you've shown the investment is not getting a return. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news again for the 18,000th time. Yes, everybody loves Zack Snyder's Justice League when it dropped on HBO Max. Yes, it did incredible streaming numbers, but that was not why HBO Max dropped it. They didn't care about streaming numbers. They cared about subscriptions, which it did not rise at all. And so that is not going to change going forward.
Well, I think we're going to see a really interesting hierarchy of power.
How dare you say that
here we
to me?
go.
How dare you say that to
Here
me,
comes the
Troy?
Dwayne
I think
conversation.
between streaming and theatrical, we're about to see a shift because there was this weird experiment where for like 3 years, everybody was like, okay, we're in a lockdown and we're going to make all our money off everyone sharing a $20 subscription. And no, a $20 movie ticket is a person. A $20 a month shared between your 5 family houses is not. So we have to shift back to an exhibition level that is using the power of cinema, not the power of everyone sharing a living room. So if you want to make a $200 million movie, you're never going to make a profit streaming. That's just not
absolutely
gonna happen.
right. Exactly.
And like, I don't know how Netflix is doing it. I don't know how Netflix's overhead works. I commend them. Thank you. But I don't think we're going to live in a time where we can keep expecting things. Like fan entitlement has gotten to a point where there's making stuff to get people to be quiet, and that is very unhealthy.
And yes, it's you're getting scenes and parts of not even just making stuff. You're getting stuff thrown into full movies that have a story in itself, that have their own narrative. That is like, all right, we hear you on the internet. Here you go. Shut up. And that's what's happening now. And it's become a bad. Fan entitlement in itself is terrible.
We need more stuff like Wick Week, where it's like
give us the Wick.
Because John Wick is its own thing. You can make whatever
didn't
rules
ask
you
for
want.
Wick Week.
All right,
and
let's
got it
move on.
anyways.
So Wick Week, more things.
Finally, to round out the headlines, we gotta mention this because if you remember at the beginning of this headline segment where we talked about at the Fast 10 trailer premiere, Fast 10, Fast X, have we decided what we're calling it?
It's both.
What they call it at the event?
They called it Fast X. Also, this was to Variety. I was right next to him when he said this, and I got so excited.
So at the Fast X trailer premiere, when asked about his dream casting, Vin Diesel also put out the call to Robert Downey Jr. He wants him in the Fast Saga, saying that down the line there's a character who is the antithesis of Dom. Down the line? Aren't we down the line already?
we are down the line, bro.
A character who's the antithesis of Dom, who is promoting AI and driverless cars and a philosophy that goes with your freedom. here's the bad news for you, Jay. If they put Robert Downey Jr. in the Fast, he'll never die. No one dies in the Fast universe. Everyone comes back to life. They got operating rooms, bringing people back to life. If you haven't seen it already on the channel, Tommy and Whitney did a great reaction / breakdown to this trailer. Whitney knows so much about the Fast universe. That's.
Do you know Michelle Rodriguez wants?
Check it out. Huh?
Michelle Rodriguez wants?
Who does Robert Downey Jr.?
Nope, Matt Damon. And I want it so bad now. She called out Matt Damon.
I want Matt Damon
camera.
as a dad.
I want him to drive. I want him to drive a station wagon.
Just like a Woody, like the
old wooden station wagon.
There's a bunch of guns in the back.
We want to talk about this Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, but first we've got to thank our sponsors this week, and that of course is NordVPN. They're allowing us to do our second ever Breakroom movie club. We did it once before. It was a lot of fun. We're going to do it again this week. Have you ever? Let me ask you a question. Have you ever sat down to watch a movie or a TV show you were so excited to watch, only to find out it's not streaming in your country? You go to see it and you're like, it's not even streaming anywhere. I can't even watch it. Forget about it, okay? All you got to do is get NordVPN, and with one click, you're able to set it so that it looks like you're in a different country, right? So this week, we want to do a movie. We were looking around. What are we going to do? Everyone loves The Last of Us, right? It's a lot of fun. We were looking at other zombie movies. We're like, oh, let's watch Zombieland. Zombieland is not on Netflix here in the U.S. It might be somewhere else, but I don't know. But I got Netflix, and I don't want to pay for another streaming service because I can't share my passwords anymore. But here's the good news, folks. You use NordVPN, boom, bam, boom. You tell it you're in Japan. It's streaming on Netflix in Japan. And you can watch Zombieland. Don't worry, it's still in English. You don't got to read. You can still watch the movie in English. So that's what we're going to do this week. Join us on Thursday here on the show. We're going to talk Zombieland. Because we don't want to talk any more Ant-Man. That'll be Ant-Man Day. We don't want to spoil anything. So we're going to talk about Zombieland. We're going to do a little movie club. NordVPN is so easy to use. I use it all the time. With one click, you can access one of their more than 5,400 servers in over 60 countries. You find a server near you for better speed or connect to a faraway location to freely explore the internet. They have great speed on NordVPN. It's not going to slow down your stream. You're not going to be watching this in 720p, folks. Don't worry. 4K, baby, as long as you're paying for the 4K. You'll get the high streaming speed on NordVPN. It's the fastest VPN out there. You can use it on over 66 devices. It's on every major platform: Windows, Android, iOS, macOS, Linux, whatever you want. Even your Android TV supports NordVPN. So do like we were going to do. Watch Zombieland this week. If you don't have NordVPN, here's what you can do. You can grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/breakroom. That's nordvpn.com/breakroom. You'll get a huge discount off your NordVPN plan, plus a bonus gift. And this is completely risk-free, folks. Nord's got a 30-day money-back guarantee. So check it out, nordvpn.com/breakroom. Watch Zombieland. Join us on Thursday. We'll do a little segment. We'll talk about it. You can put in your questions, all that great stuff. It'll be a lot of fun.
Love that movie. Very excited.
I'm very excited to watch it again. It's been a long time since I've seen it. The zombie meta has changed a lot out there. We'll see how it holds up with this movie. All right, folks, we spent a lot of time on the show today talking about anything but the Guardians trailer, but I want to talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer with you guys real fast because I was really thinking about this bad boy, okay? The High Evolutionary, all right? Herbert Wyndham himself. We see him in the movie, looking tough, looking angry, looking scary. And his whole thing, we hear this little line from Rocket, right, where he's talking about, like, he doesn't want to make things perfect. He just doesn't like the way things are, right? But he was saying he wants to make things perfect. So he's making this planet, right? They roll up on it, and they tricked us in the first trailer because we're like, oh, they're back on Earth. How fun. Yep. This isn't Earth. This is some sort of like planet with anthropomorphic animals. This is BoJack Horseman come to life.
They better have a Statue of Liberty with some other animal's face.
Yes, it better be with a lion.
Yeah, I want to see a little Planet of the Apes action. But it looks like Earth, right? Do you think Herbert Wyndham? I don't want to call him the High Evolution. I only want to call him Herbert Wyndham because what a name. Do you think he made this planet, or is this a planet? So in the comics, right, we have Counter Earth, which he makes. He puts it on the opposite side of Earth's
rotation.
What's that called?
Axis.
Orbit. The opposite of, so Earth could never see it, I guess, which I think is the cutest thing ever. What a cute plan. But he makes that one. Over there. But then there's also in the comics, there's Half-World, right, where a lot of the animal creations that he makes, they go to like live there. He drops them off there. It's like a prison planet. I don't know.
I don't think we'll do both.
I think it might be a hybrid.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a hybrid, but I think it's something he found. Right. I just, for whatever reason, feel like that it's a lot of explaining to make him create the planet and the people. So I think they're going to combine those two concepts, and it's going to be like a planet that's habitable.
I think his backstory may have him be some type of scientist from Earth.
Yeah.
He might be from Earth because that's why everything looks, again, Rocket tells you, he wants things to be perfect. He didn't think Earth was perfect when he left.
Right.
But he thinks, he doesn't like what it looked like. He wants it to be perfect. He wants to fix what he saw. So that's why everything looks like what he saw in that time when he last left Earth. He doesn't know what it looks like currently.
Right.
So now he's taken his technology. He's probably picked up some stuff along the way being dropped off there. Now he can experiment on the animals and just further improve on what the creatures from Half-World are.
So what I'm hoping with that, because I agree, I think it's the way he sees Earth.
Right.
But we have this, currently, human beings, especially Americans, have this whole thing about the better time we lived in. And like things are, rough right now, but things have been better and worse and high and low. I'd be interesting if they have a commentary on Star-Lord going back to what he considers peak and like seeing the 80s and 90s, and then you realize that like, no, I'm happier with the people that I've made, my found family. Because if you look at like this certain group of people in this country that love the 50s, they don't realize some of the things that were wrong. It'd be interesting to have a villain that had that kind of mentality of like, this is the way things were and I wear a red hat. And then the people that are like, evolving and the High Evolutionary being a not evolved person. So like Star-Lord realizing that
we're going to use the word evolved? Okay.
I'm saying Star-Lord being evolved. I'm saying Star-Lord.
No. I know. Yeah.
So like a character that basically sees evolution as finding your family, finding the people that love you, versus someone that's stuck in the past that believes that things should be this way because that's good.
Well,
and it'd be cool to see that character.
I want Herbert Wildum from South Central LA during the Watts riots. He got snatched up in the 90s, and that's what he wants to be better.
Well, we do have a shot of like, you can kind of see, we'll call it Counter-Earth, I don't know what they're going to call it in this, but the Earth-looking planet, right? When we see Gamora on there, and she's like kind of carrying Rocket. So maybe Rocket went back to this place, maybe if it's to find Layla, and you can kind of see like, the cars they're very late 80s, early 90s. The clothes are kind of that way. So yeah, I love that parallel of like this is also the time when that Peter knows most.
Right. That's what I'm
Kind
saying.
of coming back to this world where it's like looks like
Yeah.
that. And in the comics, right? Herbert he's an Earthling. He usually is in like Mount Wondergore. That's where he was initially doing his stuff before he went off into space.
Right.
It will be interesting to see how they establish that here because we do get a little bit of a flashback look at my man Wyndham. This is him with his hair.
That's a 1980s black man haircut.
He's still got his full head. Right, his face is
not
stretched.
stuck to the sides of his face.
He's wearing a very similar uniform to what we see later.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This kind of shiny metal thing. Yeah, how did he get off Earth? Do you think he was snatched away, or was he smart enough to get off the planet and then remake the planet somewhere else?
Do they tie it into Ego? Do they tie it into the abduction? Do they tie it into what Star-Lord went through? Is it one of those characters that's the other side, the yin to the yang of Star-Lord?
Remember, though, the Kree have been here.
Right.
That's one thing we always forget about.
Yeah.
The Kree have
because
been here.
In the comics, it's the Inhumans that show him like the technology.
But
The Kree would work perfect because we've gotten rid of Inhumans. They're
This is
gone.
the last movie before the Marvels too. Kree Skrull Wars around the corner.
And Secret Invasion is coming out.
And Secret Invasion theoretically should have already been out whenever that movie is.
Remember, we're finally
We'll find out on the day.
finally getting the even kill from the COVID delays of releases.
Yeah, we're catching up.
But the Kree were here in the 80s and 90s.
And that would be that time. That'd be interesting.
That would be the perfect reason for him to understand. They took him. He probably saw one of them. Again, his interaction wasn't like Fury's.
Right.
His interaction wasn't like Beers.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that, but it was something like he's a scientist. They have a science they can teach him.
And that's always interesting when you see a character that just wants
From
to
South
meddle.
Central, by the way, during the riots.
But like a character that just wants to meddle because he sees that as an improvement versus like what Rocket went through because he clearly made Rocket. It's going to be interesting. My theory is Rocket gets sick or hurt and they can't do anything. They don't know how to fix it. So they have to go back to his creator even though that's an evil person. And Layla's the one that helps him get there. I think it's like they're actually pursuing High Evolutionary, not the other way around. And then they get there and realize what he's made. And I think there's going to be that moment of like shock that this planet is like, this isn't this picturesque, oh yay, I'm home. It's not the Tim Burton like Wonderland.
Do you think Rocket has some of the High Evolutionary's DNA in him? Because remember, Rocket was just a baby raccoon. Now Rocket is actually smart. And Rocket can talk and everything.
And so can Layla.
And so can Layla.
Oh, like Herbert puts his own DNA.
He used a part of his DNA to make the human DNA to give them the upright life to be able to speak and things like that. He stretched the human DNA, the human genome, as far as he can go to place it into other creatures.
It would make sense, and it'd be interesting to see how that manipulates the duality between Star-Lord having alien DNA, God DNA, because we just found out, spoilers for Christmas special that's been out for 3 months.
That he has a
It's
sister
been a while.
now?
Like, but they
sister.
when they just revealed that, I don't think
yeah.
it's a coincidence that we're getting that reveal before
Could
Guardians.
Herbert be her? I love Gollum.
Could
he be another child
Another
if you
kid.
go?
That's what I'm saying. I think that they mirror each other.
Let me tell you something. I want to see Kurt Russell with a sister with an afro from the 60s and 70s.
He's not using Brandy to tease her. What song is he using to like love her down?
He's using something from the Whispers, the OJs, the Isaac. He's playing in between the sheets.
Like Jackie Brown.
It's just Jackie Brown.
Yeah,
it's like a Jackie Brown soundtrack, okay? That's what I need. James Gunn, let me know if I'm right.
I hope they bring Kurt Russell back just for that.
I love the idea that like in Spider-Man everything's Oscorp in the Sonyverse, but in Guardians it's like Ego's just busy. Like, he's like Zeus. He's just making babies.
I'll throw one more potential way my boy Herb got off the planet, okay? We see a shot. Now, I brought up Wundagore Mountain, right? That's where he did a lot of his stuff. There's a shot in the trailer of him sitting crisscross applesauce floating in space.
Which is very Scarlet Witch
Which
of
we
him.
saw in
The
Multiverse
Darkhold.
of Madness when she's dreamwalking.
Yeah.
She did a little bit of that action.
Oh.
Did our boy Herb, was he a mountain climber in his spare time? He found Wundagore Mountain,
Found
was
the
messing
Darkhold.
around and started doing this, and then got off planet somehow.
First of all, I want to know how he knew to just go, if I just cross my legs, if I just go.
But if the Darkhold's like tied to that'd be interesting to play with.
I don't think they're going
I
to
don't think
do
they'll go
that.
magic
I don't
for
think
him.
James Gunn was interested in all that razzmatazz, but like that would be a fun little parallel to get him out of there.
Even just mentioning Wundagore, because it would give
Yeah.
comic fans a moment and enough of a like, he has a mysterious origin. Like they don't have to go too
and then
far.
Wong pops in and is like, Wundagore's gone, my guy. And he's like, "Ugh!"
Then he portals out some Young Avengers and leaves.
Yeah. I got
Wong
other
comes in.
movies to do.
You mentioned Wundagore. Wanda Maximoff, she destroyed that. Take care. I got a date with
Bye.
Madison.
Bye. I'm just clearing that up for everybody. I would love that. That's how he got off the planet. Probably not. But I do love this whole idea, right, of like the parallel of him and Peter, I think will be important. Yeah, all this Rocket's, Rocket and Layla and like Peter and Gamora, are they, their stories parallel in interesting ways, like being with the one you love, finding your way back to them.
I have a theory. I said so I'm dropping my trailer reaction later on today.
All right.
So if you remember in Infinity War, before Thanos took her, they both said "I love you" in reverse. She said "I love you." He said it back. There's something may happen where he says "I love you" to her, and one of them is dying. More than likely, I think Quill is dying.
Okay.
Because I don't think it would be too easy again. And everybody keeps asking, why do you keep thinking these members of the Guardians are dying? Because you're going to move on. This is the last time with this team.
Right.
We know Drax is gone.
Yeah.
Dave Bautista was like, bro, whatever y'all did to Jennifer Lawrence and X-Men Dark Phoenix, just do that with my face and hands. Like, he's gone. There's a possibility Rocket is gone. And Lila takes Rocket's place. Quill is the next best to go.
I could see Quill and Gamora like going off in the sunset.
Going off.
Like either way, they're out.
Paul Walker
They're
style,
out.
just driving
Just, man,
out.
they just gotta take a left.
two
Driving
different
out.
ships. The
Yeah.
Benatar.
they go
They
that way.
take the Bowie that way.
Then the Bowie.
Oh man, I still can't hear that song without getting hurt. But I do think there's going to be a moment of like family, you can never go home again on Earth.
Right.
And then they leave. Like I think there's a cosmic home to them.
Yeah.
So they're going into the sunset could be really beautiful to be like, Earth isn't for me anymore. This counter Earth, whatever they call it, isn't for me anymore. And then that sunset moment feels like, okay, this is our new family. This is what we're doing. I just don't know if I want Gamora to 50 first dates this thing and like fall back in love with them because it's like, we just met.
No.
You know what I mean? Like Edge of Tomorrow didn't work for me because like the entire movie is genius in the restarting, and then I love the movie by the way. It does work for me in 9/10 of
Do
the
not
ways.
go after Edge of Tomorrow.
95% perfect, but that 5% when they like just start snogging at the end, I'm like, you just met this dude like just a second ago.
I mean,
so I
it's
wouldn't.
pretty intense.
In the trailer, when
emotion.
Gamora says, everything you say, you sound like you like her. And
Yeah.
Nebula's like, don't you put me in this.
Yeah.
She like, don't do this. And then Quill starts to look at Nebula like,
I mean, that
can't
Christmas
turn it
present
off.
was great for
It's like,
Rocket.
yeah.
They're family now.
yeah,
The whole
they're family.
So
Yeah,
I'm really excited.
The arm, you bring up the Christmas present, the arm. It did
Yeah.
look, her arms look different. You think she just ripped off like the Wakandan plating? Is that what it looks like
the
underneath
innards?
maybe?
Or maybe whatever scientists we see in that one little steel, they did something to fix it. 'Cause
they
remember,
took it off or
they
something?
fixed it up. It gave it better technology. Remember, this whole arm is just robotic no matter what.
right.
So it doesn't have to be Wakandan and vibranium. There could be other equipment.
Or the High Evolutionary fixed it.
Or the High Evolutionary.
What if she got hurt? And what if she got hurt and Rocket's like the only person that can help you and he doesn't want to deal with his origin stuff and like they got to go fix her? Because no one would be able to know the Thanos mechanics. Also, what if Thanos and High Evolutionary knew each other?
That's a big question everybody's asked. What if all of these bad guys, they have their own, I hate to use the term, a Legion of Doom. Everyone knows of everyone.
They got, business cards and
Hey,
a phone
bro.
book.
Hey, bro, hold on,
There's
man.
a cabal.
Hey, man, look, I know this dude that does experiment on animals. Hey, you know him? You know
Oh,
him?
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, he's got a space stretch across
South
his
Central.
skull,
Yeah,
right?
he's in South Central. So look, his boy named Herbert. But Herbert.
My boy Herb.
What did Thanos go by then?
We do want to thank some of our super chatters today. Christian Unpronounceable, reminding everyone to like the stream. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Stephen Hyder pointing out DC and Gunn have to knock it out of the park. Most of us who just gave up are coming back hopeful after seeing Peacemaker.
So good.
I think it's going to be great. I'm excited to see even these next two films. They're not Gunn's responsibility. Maybe Aquaman 3 will come out before 2026. We'll never know.
Blue Beetle got my hype.
Blue Beetle, man.
Joe Mark saying donating because Koi makes me so very, very happy. Also, Bucky Barnes, excited to see Jay back on the show. It's good to see you on the show, Jay.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Also, Christian Unpronounceable saying something Koi said was brilliant. That must be a mistake.
Oh, the Stan Lee, Steve Rogers
We'll probably
thing.
delete that out of there. That probably can't
That's
be
a good
right.
one, It's
We'll
only
take
the
that
live
out of
stream,
the show
just for
later.
you.
Don't
Yeah.
worry. But yeah, I'm very excited. What you guys missed from the Super Bowl? What Super Bowl trailer did we not get that you were hoping
Blue
to
Beetle.
see? Oh, you think?
I
don't
wanted
think
the
they
Blue
would
Beetle.
show us anything yet already.
Dude, just to give you a tease, again,
little
remember,
tease.
the rule of three trailers now is a teaser trailer, an official trailer,
And a show everything in the movie trailer.
and I'll show everything in the movie trailer. The final trailer.
I really wanted the Little Mermaid trailer because the
was gonna
D23
sing?
footage.
You're gonna sing?
Real rejects all day. No, but the thing I did D23 was shocking that movie wowed me more than anything. Like for me, Little Mermaid footage was like prettier than Avatar. Like it was stunning.
Right.
And we still didn't get to see Ursula or like Flounder or any of those characters. So I thought this would be a great way to be like, papa, and like we got a Little Mermaid.
I was ready for all those angry people in Middle America to turn their tables over.
I'm hoping
Not
that's
my mermaid.
You better tell me they gave me
This
they
is my
gave me
football
black
game.
people singing the national anthems, 2 black quarterbacks on Black History Monday, and a black Little Mermaid. This ain't my America.
If that's the thing you see when you look at a mermaid, that's the half. You're looking at the fishtail and you're like, wait, there's a problem with the
There's
other
a
one.
problem.
What is wrong with you?
I wanted to see something from the Marvels.
I did too. I want to see the
that.
Marvels.
The stuff they showed at D23 was so good.
I want to see the Marvels
But
and a little
they're-
bit of Secret Invasion.
That's 2 movies out. They usually only
gotta hone
tease
in.
the next movie, but they've been teasing Guardians for so long.
But there's
now.
so much to tie in these things together. I'm really curious if I haven't seen Ant-Man Quantumania yet, so I'm really curious if there's anything that ties Kang into the 10 Rings, because I think there is. And I'm really curious if the bangle in the Marvels is tied to those same things. I'm really curious if anything with the High Evolutionary is tied to that same magic. I'm really curious.
You haven't watched previous episodes of this Breakroom I've been on.
But it could literally tie.
I've said it, yeah. All those,
like those things could be like Phase 5 could be like, hey, you thought we didn't know what we were doing?
all of those little bitty things are like that. Yeah, that's
Because it's Act 2. Like people don't look at it as it's a 3-act structure, 4, 5, 6. You don't give away the tie-ins till Act 2. This is today or Friday starts Act 2 of Marvel with Ant-Man. So it could just start like dominoes falling together, and then Kang blow it all up with Secret Wars.
because that's what I've been saying on this show. That is what Kang wants Scott to get him, the 10 Rings, which may give us a Shang-Chi cameo in the movie. Because why? They're both in San Francisco.
Because we know Simu wants to do like he said he's working a ton.
He's
come on
working-
the show, Simu. And we basically like have a lot of Shang-Chi coming. So that would totally make sense.
Everything is it's quantum technology. Again, we all think that everything is. We think the Bengals are Kree, right? But we don't know the connection the Kree may have to another Kang.
Right, and the Guardians might, because they like to have more cosmic of an element. So it'd be great to have Ant-Man bring us Kang, Guardians tie a little bit, not too much, because I like that it's separate, it's about family, like the Fast franchise. And then the Marvels ground it back down while being cosmic, because it's perfect timing. You have grounded cosmic to like bring that all together.
Does the high evolutionary know Kang?
He's probably heard of him. I think there are rumors.
They wear similar shiny purple.
They are
outfits.
both very picturesque.
Look,
in their
also,
purple
let me just say it. They go ahead and see each other on the street and do this. That's the designated black man nod. Hey, you a brother with time? Hey, we never late, right, bro? Way to beat the stereotype. That's how you do it. They know each other.
Confirmed? Possibly. Possibly. Well, I want to thank you both for being here today. Thank you for coming in. Thank you all for tuning in today. We hope you have a great rest of your Monday. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Join us here tomorrow at the same time. We'll be talking more stuff from the Super Bowl and all. There'll probably be lots more news tomorrow. And it'll be another day of this great Wick Week.
Wick Week.
I can't wait to see what we get tomorrow. Check it on the channel. Eric's breakdown of the Flash trailer will be up any minute now if it's not already up. And tomorrow I'll have his breakdown of the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer. So be on the lookout for that. We thank you guys for joining. Have a great rest of your day. Like us, get yous. We'll see you.